This is your place for all things Grand Rapids Griffins and all things Toledo Walleye. This is the Hockeytown West podcast with your host, Brandon Cook, Nick Harrington, and Travis Foch.
It's officially the most wonderful time of the year. It is playoff time. It's wonderful, but it's also chaotic. Are you ready for this? This is your first full run on the show during the playoffs. Are you ready for the chaos that's about to ensue?
Wait, it's funny when you sent the note the other day to us about like the schedule this week, I was like, oh geez, nothing like going off the deep end into like literally a 7 straight day stretch of podcast stuff.
It's a beautiful thing. It is great because both the teams that this show covers are in the playoffs. Sorry, Detroit fans. Red Wings are not in. But we have tons to talk about with the playoffs with these two organizations. Grand Rapids, nice little boost for them today with a couple new additions. Toledo, what is this? How many consecutive years now in the dance? 9?
I think it's 9, yeah.
And we get to talk about it all the way through. Our job doesn't stop when the regular season's over. We don't get to go golfing.
You only get to go golfing if you take a week off in the middle of the season.
Exactly, which we rarely do, because even when the season's over, the fun doesn't stop on this show. And this show is the Hockeytown West podcast. And welcome back, everyone. I am one of your hosts, Brandon.
And I'm Travis.
If you're tuning into this episode, it is another Toledo Walleye update. That is why we are going to be talking all things Toledo Walleye, including their playoffs, kind of recapping the end of the regular season here. Won't spend too much time on that. We also have a special guest interview to wrap up the show today. We'll be joined by Walleye defenseman Jalen Smereck, his second time on the show. We've been sitting on this interview for a while, honestly, because it took a while to edit. We tried a new recording style with it that did not work the way we wanted to, so it's not the prettiest interview in the world. But Travis did a great job editing it, and we made the best of what footage we could use, and it's still a fun interview. It's always a good time to sit down and talk with Jalen, so it might not be our best work, but it's kind of a good way to end the regular season off with that interview. Some of the stuff we've talked about is about a month and a half old in that interview, we understand, but it's still a fun one. But before we dive into the show today, Trav, man, how you doing?
I'm good. Like you said, it's Christmas time. It's playoffs for us down here. You're not quite there yet. That'll be hopefully 2 weeks. Hopefully you get a week off up there. But down here, it season ended Sunday, and Thursday we go. So all gas, no brakes.
Amen, man. I'm so excited. And I will be down there for game 1. I'm super excited about that. After I sat here all week going, I'm not doing that. It's not going to happen. And yep, it's happening. That's how it goes every time when I make a trip to Toledo. I'm not going to do that this week. Oops.
You did it to yourself and mid-recording last night, too, which was probably the funniest part about the whole thing.
Yeah, I convinced myself and convinced a buddy to go. So me and Tyler will make the trip down and get to see you and get to see the Walleye play, and I'm super excited. I didn't get to go to game 1 last year. I went to game 2 or 3. I went to a lot last year, but I did not go to game 1. So I'm excited. I can't wait to be back in the bank tank to feel that playoff atmosphere, because regular season games are already a blast, but playoffs down there is a whole new level. I don't think Tyler knows what he's getting himself into. We've left some things off the record for him too, so that's super fun for us, and I can't wait to see his reaction at a certain point before the game. It's going to be priceless.
Yeah, I was like, we were talking last night, and I was like, there's this part, and I'm like, no, I'm just going to let it happen organically, because it's just like there's only one way that you can explain, see it. So I don't want to spill the beans if he's watching. Walleye fans know what I'm talking about. So.
Oh yeah, everybody does. Well, let's talk about some news around the team. There's really only one update outside of the obvious playoff roster, which we will talk about. But Brandon Hawkins wraps up the season as the league leading scorer for the second consecutive year in the ECHL. So first off, congrats to Hawk. Another incredible season for him, kind of as expected. But to see him go back-to-back as the leading scorer, how crazy is that?
Well, he's a super talented player, incredible person. I mean, back-to-back scoring leader is incredible, and then you throw in the third consecutive year being an all ECHL first team. So just an incredible year. He'll take that and just spin it to the team thing. Surrounded by good teammates, all that good stuff, and that's just the person he is. He's probably, honestly, we've heard it. I think it was Derek Booth said he's one of the most humble superstars that he's ever met. So, just a credit to him. He's such a great person. He's so kind to us. I mean, we've had him on twice, and he's always friendly with the jabs and throwing pucks at people, and all the other chaos that ensues when you're around him. So you always get a good laugh, and it's just incredible that Toledo gets to see a talent like that every night, and the fact that he's called this place home now. Like, this is his home. This is where he wants to play, and don't take that for granted, because not every team in the league has a player like this that wants to stay here for as long as he's been here. And I would assume potentially just stay here for the rest of his career, probably. That's not news. That's just an assumption, but I think it's a fair assumption. It's just, you got to be thankful, because if you didn't have a player like this, it's so much different.
Yeah, the results could be a lot different. He is a game breaker. He's a game changer. Again, we're saying all these nice things because he wouldn't say them about himself, so somebody around here has to, and of course we will. He's an incredible talent that this organization and these fans are very lucky to have. So excited for him, super happy for him and the team and the organization for just kind of what he's been able to accomplish this year. Again, he's not going to give himself the pat on the back here. He'd always throw it to the guys, but he truly does make a big difference, not just on the team, but in the city of Toledo overall, with how much stuff he does extra on the side in and around the town. So yeah, very lucky to have him. Moving on from that, though, that's all the flowers he gets today. That's all he gets.
You know what? I'm gonna throw one more thing in there. The Sunday at the game, his son had the Little Hawk shirt on. That was incredible.
It was the most adorable thing I've ever seen. Even the ECHL, I think they posted on their Instagram today some photos from it. They're like, we know it's playoff time, but we have to talk about this. And it was really cute. It's so cool to just see, like, I know Spike and Katrick are the mascots, but I think Lil Hawk's the third for this team. Let's be real.
He might be.
Oh, I love it. Well, let's talk about some games. It's been a while since we talked about the Walleye on the show. We didn't do a Toledo episode last week. Travis was on vacation, and Nick and myself could not make it work to do it together without him. So there's been a lot of games since we last talked. We're not going to go in depth with all the ones that were further back, but quick reminder, you had the Toledo Walleye you had Toledo at Indy, a 4-3 shootout loss. Toledo at Bloomington, a 4-1 win. And then you had Toledo at Cincinnati with a 5-4 overtime loss. And that kind of shifts us into this past weekend, The last weekend at home for the regular season. Good crowds, officially sold out the entire season in the Huntington Center, which is mind-boggling to me. I can't think of the last time a minor league sports team sold out their entire season.
Again, it's a credit to the fans. We've said it for a long time. It's a Hockeytown. Anybody that hasn't been here yet, like, you have got to come down and experience it. Like, a regular season game down here is probably like a playoff game in most minor league cities. Like, that's probably just like the most honest way to describe it. And then when the calendar flips the playoffs, it just somehow amplifies, which doesn't even seem possible, but it does. And the Friday game, I mean, I said to Kelsey, I said this was the most like blah game. Like, they had a lot of shots, but like Fort Wayne did a great job just keeping them on the outside, and they just didn't score. And it's hard, right? You pretty much know at that point, like, okay, you're probably not going to catch Kansas City. You're not going to win the league, so it's kind of like, okay, just get through this weekend healthy, and kind of go from there. And I think it kind of showed a little bit on Friday, but was corrected on Sunday. I mean, definitely, they scored. That was probably the most honest thing. You lose 3-0 Friday, you want to come back and put something good out there. I mean, they didn't have Hawk on Sunday. He was a healthy scratch. So it gave some other guys some opportunities. And I thought they played decent. Kels was even like, this game's so boring. Like,
I texted you and I was like, both these games were played with the intensity of a preseason game.
yeah, it was
Like that's kind of what it looked like for both teams. Like even like yes, Friday obviously a 3-0 loss. That you were missing some people in the lineup in that one too, but both Indy and Toledo knew what was coming up. They knew they were going to see each other in a week. Like they both did not bring full intensity to this game whatsoever.
Yeah, and I was really hoping that Indy would lose the first two in regulation and just like cause absolute pandemonium coming into Sunday. But then at the same time, they would have been like, we have to win this game. So like they would have been like balls to the walls. And like it was funny because I got a text early in the game on Friday and it was like Pelon for Kalamazoo's on Hattie Watch. And I was like, that game just started. And I got a text back of, yeah, it's 2-0 Kalamazoo. And I was like, oh, okay. So then like I get downstairs and like when I left my seat, it was I think Kalamazoo was winning the game. And from the moment I got downstairs, it was tied. And then all of a sudden Fort Wayne had to win the game or Kalamazoo had to win the game in regulation. So they did the Philadelphia Flyers from last year and pulled the goalie, got scored on, and then immediately tied the game after they gave up the goal.
They gave it at all.
They did, and they came up a point short or a goal short in regulation, and Indy clinched on Friday, which to tie this all back into Sunday, like, again, it was like the most meaningless game. Like, just don't get hurt. And Keenan leaves the game after he got a puck to like, I don't know if it was like his neck or his face. He got hit somewhere high, and I was just like, the one thing that you're not supposed to do is get hurt, and we had a guy get hurt. But he's on the playoff roster, so I'd assume he's okay. But, Louis gets 2 goals just to get a win. You don't want to give Indy that, like, we can do this in this building. I think that's probably the biggest thing. Now, granted, some guys were not playing, but still, I mean, to win a game, if Indy would have won the game, they're still going to have a lot of confidence coming into Thursday.
Yeah, you don't want to give them that at all. It was good to see the win, and it's just good to have the regular season wrapped up, right? There's so many highs, there's a few lows, but they came out of this, winning the division, and you can't be mad about that. Like you're happy with the end of the regular season result. Obviously, we'll dive more into that in an end of season recap and kind of go more in depth to what we witnessed in the regular season. But just the overall feeling for me is I'm happy with it. Could it have been better? Sure. Could it have been worse? Yeah. And I'm just glad it works out with them having home ice through the division rounds, and we'll play it out from there as it goes on into the playoffs. But let's talk about this playoff roster a little bit, because I think that's probably been the talk of the town today.
Yeah, just a little.
Yeah, so obviously we'll start with the players not technically on the playoff roster right now as it's listed, right? You got Chaz Redekop, Dalton Messina, Josh Nodler, Tanner Pelosic, and Gage Alexander, which we know Gage Alexander was reassigned, at least on paper, to the Grand Rapids Griffins earlier this week. So that is where Gage should be roaming around for right now. We know the 2 goaltenders in Toledo, obviously beyond Bednar and Carter Gylander. It makes the most sense. If we physically will see Gage in Grand Rapids, I don't know if he'll physically be there. I don't think we'd see him play, but will he be there? I don't know. Well, if I see him, I'll tell you. But outside of that, those are the guys not on the roster, and I think that started a lot of the conversation through the fan base today.
Yeah, everybody wanted Chaz back, and I mean, clearly he's just not ready. So they leave him off the roster. Listen, when a guy's hurt, it's probably always best to err on the side of caution. You don't want to, if he could play, like risk him getting hurt even more. Obviously, all of these guys want to be on the roster. You say that if you walk up and ask them, they're like, "Yeah, I want to be on the roster. I want to play." Like, come on. Messina, he was nicked up at the end of the year. Nodler, I think maybe he was just the odd man out. Hate to say that. I mean, all these guys, again, great people, so you feel bad for the people. You feel bad for the person. But I think he was healthy. He played Sunday, so I would say he was maybe just the odd man out here. And then, like with Tanner, I believe Tanner was on the IR also, so 3 guys on IR. I mean, it kind of gave you a pathway to kind of see what the roster was going to look like. Now, with Gage, I think Gage was hurt too, I'm pretty sure. So,
yeah.
I mean, basically, all the guys that were hurt just weren't healthy enough, and then Josh is the odd man out, which again, like, you feel for him. He's been here all year, so it sucks. It's a hard time of the year, but everybody else outside of those guys that is here is on the roster.
Yeah, so I'm going to try to read through the roster just so I can make sure everyone understands who is here. If you're not that familiar with Toledo, you're a Griffins fan tuning in, trying to understand who's there. I'm going to try to do this in one take. Here we go. So your forwards on the roster, you had 14 total forwards. You had Will Hillman, Sam Craggs, Cole Gallant, Billy Moskal, Brandon Hawkins, Tyler Spezia, Trenton Bliss, Conlon Keaton, Nolan Moyle, Brandon Cruz, Darian Pilon, Mitchell Lewandowski, Colby Ambrosio, along with Carson Bantle, who is currently assigned to Grand Rapids, but the addition to Grand Rapids today of Michael brandsegg-Nygård should excite Toledo fans because we would pretty much assume Bantle will make his way back to Toledo, hopefully by Thursday, honestly. You could potentially see Bantle play with Grand Rapids on Wednesday in Rockford if they don't throw MBN in the lineup right away. And you would probably see him immediately turn around and go to Toledo Thursday. I would assume. There's nothing that confirms that. They could hold on to him through the end of the regular season. Who knows? But if I'm a betting man, that's what I see happen, unless you disagree with me.
No, I think you're on the right track. But again, like, does GR want to have a guy 3 hours away? Like, you don't have Watson back yet, correct? Or is he back?
No, he's not back yet. I was hoping that would have been done by now, but I think he will finish the regular season in Detroit with them sidelining Elmer Soderblom for the rest of the season.
Right. So, again, like, and I think Detroit's last game is Thursday, or is it Friday?
Well, I don't know.
It's end of the week this week, so even if he doesn't come back, I could see where GR keeps Bantle through maybe this week. So maybe you see Bantle for game 3 would be my guess. That's probably the most likely option because I feel like
it also depends on how good Cross Annis is too, if he's ready to go yet or not. If he can hop back in the lineup and MBN can hop in, then Bantle's definitely back.
Yeah, I would say so.
So that's where that sits right now. And we don't have an update on Cross Annis. He was still listed as day-to-day. So Walleye fans, I'm sorry, I don't have great news there for you, but he will be back at some point for the playoffs. Like, you will have him back. It's basically a guarantee. I go on to the defensive side of the roster here. 8 total defensemen: Jalen Smereck, Nick Andrews, Matt Anderson, Brandon McCallion, Bobby Russell, Colin Sawyer, Jed Pietola, and Dylan Moulton. So again, nothing unexpected there. And obviously, like we said before, the 2 goaltenders are Jan Bednar and Carter Gylander. So overall, nothing too surprising there on the playoff roster. It's, there was tough decisions to make, but it looks like overall that guys being hurt kind of helped maybe lessen the toughness of those decisions.
Yeah, I mean, really, if you think about it, you had 5 guys go out, and really 4 of them were hurt. So you really mainly have 1 cut. Injuries prevented a lot of guys from probably being. Let's be honest. If all these guys were healthy, then you probably are having different discussions. It sucks. It's part of the game. Guys get hurt, and it takes time. So that's probably the worst part. And I believe technically on reserve currently would be Russell with Hawkins and Spezia.
Correct. Yep. And with Bantle on the playoff eligible list.
Right, which is how they get to their 24. So with Spezia, this series probably, I would say, would be my guess.
We've seen some rumors float around about it, yeah.
Yeah, I seen Mark, I think, posted game 3 today, somewhere in there. So that's a positive sign.
That's huge.
I seen in the Toledo hockey page, the news was at practice, and he was in a non-contact jersey. So
he's skating. That's all that matters, right?
Yeah, that's a huge piece. That's good to know at least. I don't know if that was supposed to be posted, but somebody put it in there. So it was on Channel 11. So, I mean, everybody knows he's at least skating at this point. That's probably the biggest piece of news. Hawk that's all paper moves with Hawk. He had to go to a 3-day IR, which ends today, so he could be activated as early as tomorrow. And then I would assume he'll slot in for a defenseman, and they'll go 12-6-2 would be my guess. I doubt they'll go 11-7. So
yeah, I would doubt that.
I think that you'll see four lines of full forwards, 3 pairs, and 2 goaltenders on Thursday.
Then they face off with Indy.
Yeah.
You play them the last game of the season. It's weird, right? It could be weirder. It could be like the Rockford Grand Rapids situation. If that happens to go that route, that's more weird, I think, than playing them for the last game. 2 of your last 3 games against the guys you'll play in the first round, plus you played them 12 times in the last 6 weeks. Like, that would be a nightmare. I want to avoid that, but you get Indy. And just initial thoughts. What's this series going to look like?
Well, Pat made it sound like it'll be a tight checking series. Both teams don't give up a lot of goals, right? Like, you look at the numbers, like goals against, Indy's at 2.71, Toledo's at 2.69. So basically 2.7 goals against the game for both teams. Goals for, Toledo's at 3.25 and Indy at 2.5. So
Toledo's got the scoring edge there, but again, it's a tough team defensively to get goals past. So
correct. That's probably the biggest standpoint. Penalty kill is 82.7 for Toledo, 85.5 for Indy. And then power play, Toledo's at 25.1%, and Indy's at 20.4%. So
2 really good penalty kills and power plays going up against each other as well.
yeah, and they played 4 times this year, and they basically split. Toledo went 2-1-1. The one being, I believe, in a shootout. So shootouts, throw them out the window. Thank God.
Yeah.
Like, that's over. I mean, everybody loves the shootout. It's cool, don't get me wrong, but now we get to actually play hockey and have a hockey play and like a more natural hockey play end a game if you go to overtime. So 2 previous matchups in the playoffs, Toledo swept Indy in 22-23 and 17-18. And you got to remember, like, when Indy first came into the league, like, Toledo owned Indy for quite a few years there right off the rip. And I think Indy's kind of stabilized themselves a little bit. It's going to be a fun matchup. You got the first 2 here on Thursday, Friday. Next Monday, Tuesday are in Indy. And then the following Saturday is in Toledo with the 28th back in Indy. And then the 30th in Toledo if it goes 7. So 2-2-1-1-1 format. Thank God it's not that 3-4 bullshit that we had with Kansas City.
Yeah, for real.
Oh.
And it's a 7-game series in the first round, not a best of 3.
Yeah. Well, down here, you separate men from boys.
Apparently, the ECHL at least knows how to structure a playoff series correctly. Thank God. I'm excited for it. The things I like about it, when you thought about the potential matchups, if they had to match up with Iowa, you think of that travel back and forth. There you go. It's a little bit of travel. It's nothing crazy, but it's not great. Travel to Indy, it's not that much more difficult for them. Just kind of like going to Kalamazoo last year. Do I think that they're going to keep with tradition over the past couple of years and sweep the first round? Walleye fans don't come after me. I don't think they're going to do that this round.
I don't think anybody's anticipating that.
I could see. I think it'll go 5 if I'm making my prediction. I think it'll go 5.
I'm more like 6.
You think 6?
I think 6. That's just kind of where my gut's at. Like, the fan side of me is like, this year just seems tougher. Like, and it could be because you're not going into the playoffs on a 20-game heat or an 18-game heater, and the year before that a 13-game heater. So it's like, it looks so easy going into the playoffs last 2 years. You kind of have to, like, you're kind of back to reality in a way. Like, it's more like, okay, this is kind of more realistic, which that's probably the biggest thing. I think as we look at this series, like, to get the first 2 at home's huge. This format, I think, really helps. Like, the format itself is big, and I think that's the way that the players would want it. I think I read last year, like, in the Blade when Mark was, writing, and he even mentioned with Pat, like, Pat was even like, yeah, it should be 2-2-1-1-1 every series. Like, that's just what it should be. That's how hockey's played. Like, that's how the series are normally in every other league. So I can understand that aspect of it. I'm glad that it's that format. But, like, biggest thing for me is, like, we got to be even more energetic this year. Like, we got to make this place tough to play, tough for Indy to come into.
Yeah, 100%. The fans need to bring it. Players are going to go out there and give it their all. We need to give it our all as well. Be loud, make that building. It's already incredibly hard to play, but make it even tougher. And we know the fans have the capability to do that. They're going to bring it. They always bring it. So I'm excited for what that'll look like. my question to you, honestly, is do you think, like, looking at it this year, obviously not going into it on a heater like last year, but just, thinking that this will be tougher than years past, is that just credit to the ECHL overall getting better?
I think that's part of it. Like, the division was a lot better this year. Like, Fort Wayne was a lot better. Iowa a lot better. I mean, the race for fourth in the division was tight. Like, it just shows how tight the division kind of got. Like, yeah, it was top heavy and bottom heavy, but at the same time, there wasn't a lot of like difference between 4 through 7 than there was like compared to 1 through 3. Like 1 through 3 were fairly comparable, and then I would say 4 through 7 were pretty comparable. I mean, Christ, going into the last weekend, Kalamazoo was in 7th place. 6th and 5th were technically eliminated, and Kalamazoo could still get in if things went the right way. So, like, it just shows you how weird that was. But, yeah, it's just, like, I don't know. It's just different this year. Like, and I think a lot of it, like I said, is just because they're not coming in on this insane win streak. But I think that could help them. Like, I feel
I
like,
think it could too. It'll remove some complacency.
yeah, and like okay, like, we're not going on this heater. Like, I think everybody knew it was going to end at some point last year and the year before that. This year, it's kind of like, okay, we have a whole new clean slate. Like, you don't have that like pressure of like, oh, we're going to lose, like, or we could lose and the streak's over. And then it's like, okay, well, now we lost a game. And not only that, like, you could be losing a series. Like, you're down in the series. And with that kind of starting on a blank sheet, I think that could really help them this year. And just like you said, I mean, they've had some highs, they've had some lows, so they've dealt with controversy this year, and they still kind of managed to win the division. So I think that's huge.
Yeah, I think I'm right there with you. I think it's a good thing for them to be going in this way. And let's be real, every single player on this roster knows what they're playing for here and what the fans expect. It's been, the topic of conversation for years. And you ask the guys, they don't talk about it until it happens, right? But at the same time, every single guy in that room knows what this city expects. And there's a chip on their shoulder this year to kind of go in and do some serious damage, because I think there is some doubt about this roster being able to do it. And if I'm a player on that roster and I see that doubt, I'm immediately going to up my game even more, just to prove not just other teams wrong, but even some of my own fans wrong. And that could drive a team deep if you can play like that.
I would definitely say I would say from what you see online just today, like, there's a lot more of like, well, same old, like, here we go. Like, you might win a couple and be done. And if it happens, it happens. Like I've said for over a year now on the show, like, they only give one out. And I'm sorry, but like, a team full of goons ain't going to do it. Like, you still got to have your small scale guys, and you got to have that right blend. It's just, it's tough to win a championship. And like, the fans, I love the fans, and like, they want it so bad. They feel it. Like, they've tasted it. It's been so close twice in the last, 6 years. And then you get multiple conference final appearances. It's like, you're right there. Just say, like I've said it for years, keep knocking and the door will open. But like, for the players, like, you got to look at it like in the essence of like, pressure is a privilege. Like Billie Jean King, right? Pressure is a privilege. And like, this is why you come to Toledo. Like, this is why you want to be here. So for me, that's the biggest thing. And, talking about some players like to keep eyes on, I think the biggest, like, the ones for Toledo kind of stand out, right? Hawkins, Lewandowski, Craggs, Smereck, Bliss, Cruz, like, those are your top guys. I think your wild cards would be like Carson Bannell. If he's in the lineup, when does he come into the lineup? I mean, you're talking about a guy that in 39 games put up 21 goals.
And plays with an intensity like no other.
Right. And as we seen the other night in Grand Rapids, just mauled 3 people in one shift. So like, he's found that physical aspect to his game too. So to go along with that puck possession, and then like with Spezia, like bringing in a guy like that, he came home to play in these games. So like, he's going to be ready to go. And if like when he gets into the lineup, you look at the goaltending for Toledo, you got Bednar and Guylander, pretty self-explanatory, the years they've had. They've had really good years. Jan's kind of like, I would say he's probably the game one starter. But
I would say so.
With so many back-to-backs, though, I feel like you're going to see the rotation continue. I don't think they're scared to play either goaltender.
Which is a great thing.
Yeah.
Like, it's not a bad problem to have.
Well, some people think it is. Some don't, especially in the playoffs. I think it was, not to bring up a sour apple, but Mike Babcock said in the playoffs one year, generally when you change your goaltender in the playoffs, you're fishing a week later, I think he said, or golfing a week later. So,
yeah, but he also didn't know what he was talking about half the time.
Right, and the Wings only did that and won the cup that year. So,
right,
but
crazy.
It's always one line of his that I always thought was kind of, I got a chuckle out of, but because you've seen Toledo run two for basically every year since we haven't had Billy, and we've gotten just as far basically. So I think it'll work out. Both goalies I think are more than capable of starting playoff games. I mean, both of them are like over 500, so that's a great thing. Obviously with Indy, you look at the point totals for them, like you have their highest point guy is Brian Lemos at 57 points. Like Toledo's got two guys above that. So like, but I feel like their kind of depth is scattered. They don't put up as many goals or points, but they have guys that can score. I mean, you look at Lemos, he's only got 9 goals, but he got 48 assists. You got Colin Billick with 18 goals, Nathan Burke with 22, Kevin Lombardi with 18, Cam Hausinger with 18, and then Kyle Mamaskovich, he's on recall, but he had 16 goals. So it's shaping up to be a good series. I think you'll see a lot of Ben Gaudreau for Indy, their goaltender.
So what you're looking for from Grand Rapids this week is them to injure some Rockford guys, so there's some call-ups, right? No, I'm kidding. I'm kidding. Totally kidding.
I mean, you said it, not me.
Kevin Lombardi just played recently against Grand Rapids. I remember that because I was like, oh, 2 Lombardis. Here we go. No, I think it's going to be tight. And the craziest statement I might make today, I think the difference maker for the Walleye, at least getting, through the division rounds, is the fans. Like, you look at these arenas they could potentially play in. None of them are going to be sold out for any of the games that they're going to. Not a single one. And the Huntington Center.
If they get Fort Wayne in the second round.
Sure. Sure, maybe.
Iowa, probably not.
Iowa can barely crack 1,000 sometimes.
Indy's a new building that might be the draw, but two of them will be.
It's just the fact that the fans can be a game breaker, difference maker for this team with making it that difficult to play in that building. So again, bring the intensity, bring the energy. I'm going to bring the energy Thursday. I'm going to be a freaking nightmare.
You're sitting how many rows in front of me?
5, I think. Just that much closer to the away bench,
Good thing Garrett Sparks isn't there this year.
No, just have fun with it. It's playoff hockey, man. This is the best time of year. And Travis has alluded to many times. Yeah, sure, the Walleye might not have won a cup, but the privilege to watch your team 9 years in a row in the playoffs and to be this successful, it is a privilege as a fan. It's a privilege as a player to be under that pressure. So consider yourselves lucky. Enjoy the moment. Not every fan is this lucky. So enjoy it. Thrive off of it. And have fun. Don't be an idiot, but have fun.
Absolutely.
On that note, should we look at the rest of the ECHL bracket to see how it finalized, to kind of look at what it's looking like around the league here? I think we should. Pop it up on screen for the YouTube viewers listening or watching here. So obviously in the Central Division, you got the Walleye in Indy, and you got Fort Wayne and Iowa. Who's winning that series, Travis?
I'm just going to preface this by saying, look, we're a Toledo Walleye podcast. If we don't pick the Walleye to go all the way to the finals, we'll be put on murderer's row by half the team. So
yep.
we'll just take Toledo to the middle there.
Yep, 100%.
I'll root for this team till they're out. So I'm going to take Toledo to the final, just because, they're not only just friends to us at this point, but you want them to do it so badly that that's what you're gonna do, right?
I just want to be a part of the party afterwards, man. It's gonna be insane.
It would be nuts.
I'm taking a week off from work just to be down there for it. I'll tell you what.
Yeah, I mean, it would. I don't think the
I
party
would need it.
I don't think the party would ever end, to be honest.
No. No.
So I think we're both in agreement there.
Yep.
This other series in this division is going to be an interesting one to watch, I think. It's fun because Iowa's in, right? I think it's their first appearance. And, like...
It is.
Fort Wayne...
And their AHL club is not going to be in, so they will have all the resources in the world.
Right. So it's kind of like, could you see an upset here? Like, maybe. But I still think Fort Wayne wins this series. I think it goes 7.
You just want a Toledo-Fort Wayne series.
I'm here for it. I really am. We haven't had it in, I can't even tell you how many years. I think it was like 2018. So, like, it was a long time ago.
All right. Now down to the Mountain Division. You've got Kansas City, Tulsa, and Wichita. What, in that one?
Yeah.
Oh, sorry, I did skip. I'm going to say Iowa.
Okay.
I think it's going to be Iowa. I just think having your full resources like that and the magic of your first appearance as an organization, I feel like there could be some build up there, especially when the Wild aren't going to be in the picture. They probably will bring some more fans into there, honestly.
Yeah.
So I'll go Iowa in this just because I like the underdog sometimes. So Mountain Division.
One small piece. I kind of hope that happens because then maybe Derek could go if Toledo gets, when Toledo gets to the second round, like that'd be an opportunity for him to see Toledo out in Iowa.
I would think that would be awesome for him.
Yeah.
So Mountain Division, Kansas City, Tulsa, Wichita, the newcomers, Tahoe, expansion team, make the playoffs. Loved that story there. Who you got for the Kansas City series?
I'll take Kansas City. I think it was 4 last year. I think it's just going to be 5 this year.
All right. I'm going to 100% agree with you on that. Wichita, Tahoe?
I'm not going chalk. I'm going with Wichita. I really like their goaltending, Trevor Gorsuch. He played out of his mind when he was here. And I think Wichita had a pretty decent record against Tahoe this year. So I think that kind of may skew my judgment. But I think I know who you're going to go with. You're probably going
Tahoe.
with the new guys.
Oh, yeah. I'll say this. I might be insane for it. I got Tahoe coming out of that division.
I mean, anything's possible, right? I mean, if Toledo were to get to that point in the playoffs, like, who doesn't want to go to Tahoe, Nevada? Like,
I don't think a single guy there would complain about it.
No, not at all.
Going over to the north, you got Three Rivers in Reading, and Wheeling, and Norfolk. 2 very interesting series over there. I think we know who's winning the first one between Three Rivers and Reading, though.
Yeah, I'll take the Lions in the top part of that bracket.
I'll take them in a sweep, honestly.
There's a very good chance that they're a very good hockey team.
Very good. Then Wheeling in Norfolk?
I'm taking the Nailers.
I am also taking the Nailers in that one. Coming out of the division, Three Rivers.
I'm going Wheeling.
Ooh!
I think Wheeling's poised to have a decent year. New division for them, new teams. I feel like, they still have, I believe Gauthier is still with them, goaltender of the year from last year. So and I believe I looked at the Daily Report and like, I think Wheeling was 3-3 against the Lions this year. So like, imagine if that went 7, like it'd be fun. So I'd take Wheeling.
All right. South Division. South Carolina and Orlando, and Florida and Jacksonville. I think we know the first division winner here.
I mean, I feel like we could both comfortably say like South Carolina and Florida are going to be in the South final.
I have a different one for the other. I was going to say Jacksonville. They're going to shock some people.
So that's an interesting piece, but I think we'll both agree on South Carolina.
100%.
So like with Jacksonville, like I think they played 5 times against Florida. I was looking at all this the other day. I got on my lunch break at work, and I think Jacksonville, like, I was thinking about maybe they could give them a series, but I think it was like they were like 1-4 or 1-5 against Florida. So I was just like, But
hey, remember last season when Toledo was like what against Kalamazoo and swept them in the first round?
Yeah, that's true. Anything can happen this time of the year.
I would just love to see, because like there's so much trash talk from the Everblades players about going to win another cup, and a first round exit would be just comical to me.
It would be very funny, to be honest.
Who you got coming out of that division?
I'll take the Stingrays. I think the Stingrays get to the south or to out of the south. I think they're just poised to have a good playoff run, I think. And look, they're the Brabham Cup champs. It's a big time curse in this league. Like, if you ask a lot of people, like, you don't want that. But I really think I think they're gonna have a good first round against Orlando. And listen, I'll say this: if it is Florida in the second round for them, what a series! I will probably watch that series over some NHL series, to be honest.
Yeah, I would agree with that. I probably will watch their first round between both these teams quite a bit if I've got the time and they're on, and there happens to be nothing else on that I want to watch at that time. But I think there's going to be some good hockey out of the South in the ECHL. So you've got it, South Carolina and Florida. You're saying South Carolina's coming out of that division?
Yep.
I'm going to agree that South Carolina will come out of that division. And then in the East, that brings it to, for you, Wheeling in South Carolina, and for me, Three Rivers in South Carolina. Who do you got in yours?
This is going to be a crazy take, but I think Wheeling.
Oh, so you're setting up a Kelly Cup final between Wheeling and Toledo in your mind?
Yeah, like, look, I'm having fun with this, right? Like, I'm not saying it's going to happen. This is kind of more what I want to happen, more maybe than what I think's going to happen. Okay, like, the first group of Storm guys, they beat Wheeling. So, like, let's run it back. Like, first year out of the division and you get Wheeling in the finals. How insane would that be?
That would be must watch every single game. Obviously, because it's Toledo, but just in general.
Like,
okay.
I'm taking days off at that point, and I'm going to every playoff, every finals game if that is the matchup. Now,
the fans travel back and forth, and that one would be insane because it's not that far. Oh, boy.
Yeah, and I mean, look, if you want my what do I really think will happen? Kansas City, Toledo, Troy Rivieras, and South Carolina. With South Carolina getting in the final, playing Toledo, like, I'm going off of more what I want to happen.
You know what? I'll take that. I'll take that all day, even though I don't have
different.
Wheeling making it out of the division. Yeah, that's way more fun than my solution, where I was going to say South Carolina, and Toledo meet in the final there. But yours is way more fun.
Well, the last time that Toledo played South Carolina, Derek Malone was 3-0 down to South Carolina and got it to 3-3, and I think they lost at home, and I want to say it was in like double or triple overtime, 1-0, which was the East final. So, like,
oh
yeah, let that sink in. So you got some, like, there's so many, like, old, like, wounds in this. If like you get to it, like, if the bracket were to fall specific ways, right? Like Toledo, Kansas City, KC beat us last year. You look at all, like, if Tulsa went on a miracle run, our first final appearance as the Walleye, we went through Tulsa. So, like, you have that tidbit out of the mountain. Down south, you have Florida, 21-22 final, you lost. South Carolina just brought that one up. Wheeling, old division rival. So there's so many fun options as you go through this. What could happen?
It's going to be weird, too, because like I was kind of talking about, with Iowa having, everything at their disposal here. There's not a lot of teams in the ECHL here that don't have a parent club in the playoffs. I think Fort Wayne, Bakersfield hasn't locked it down yet, but they're 2 points out of that spot with the game in hand on the team in front of them, so there's a chance. You look at South Carolina. All three of their teams are in and poised to make deep runs. You look at
Kansas City was Coachella, so like...
Yeah, Kansas City's Coachella. Obviously, Seattle's out of the picture in that one, but Coachella is definitely in. And you look at, a lot of the teams won't have full disposal of their rosters, at least right away. So it's going to get interesting. Some teams could see some reinforcements down the road that in a tight series could change things. I'm excited. I think this is set up to be one of the most entertaining years of Kelly Cup playoffs in probably a long time.
I'm looking forward to it. everybody get your tickets and just enjoy the ride. If it's short, if it's long, just enjoy it, because not everybody makes the tournament, let alone gets to win it every year. So I just want to preface this with just enjoy it when you have it.
Yeah, trust me, after going without it for a few years in Grand Rapids, enjoy it. Because when your team's not in it, you kind of just go, what do I do now? Because Grand Rapids wasn't making it, Detroit wasn't making it, and I didn't know about the Walleye back then. So I didn't know what to do with myself in the summer. You pick an NHL team and go for the ride, I guess, but I wanted to ask your Stanley Cup prediction before we ended it too, but we don't have Nick here, and that's not fair to him. So
No, we can't do that.
Can't do that without him. We'll have to wait for next week for that. I think that's it, though. That's all we have for the Walleye this week. Exciting stuff. I'm super ready to get into playoff mode here with these guys. We're going to try to talk about it more frequently. I don't think we'll be able to do post-game recordings like we did with Grand Rapids last year, but we'll try to put out more content around the Walleye as we go through this, because we want to be along for the ride just as much as everybody else. So we will have as much fun with it as possible. I'm excited to see everyone down in Toledo on Thursday for Game 1. Ready to bring the energy myself and have a good old time down there. I'm just ready, man. I'm excited. I'm also excited. Let's toss this over to our guest. I think it's time to hit an ad break. Throw it over to Jalen. Wrap this episode up. What do you say?
Sounds good to me. Long overdue.
Long overdue.
This NHL season has been as predictable as a puck rolling on its edge. No one knows where it's going, but that just means there's time for your favorite team to figure things out. A game's left for you to get in the action at DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of the NHL. It's super easy for first-timers to get started. Try betting on something simple like picking a team to win. Go to the DraftKings Sportsbook app, select your team, and place your first bet. And if you're new to DraftKings, listen up. New customers bet $5 to get $150 in bonus bets instantly. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app now and use code THPN. That's code THPN for new customers to get $150 in bonus bets instantly when you bet just $5. Only on DraftKings. The crown is yours.
Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. In New York, call 877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY 467-369. In Connecticut, help is available for problem gambling. Call 888-789-7777 or visit ccpg.org. Please play responsibly. On behalf of Boot Hill Casino and Resort in Kansas, 21 and over. Age and eligibility varies by jurisdiction. Void in Ontario. Bonus bets expire 168 hours after issuance. For additional terms and responsible gaming resources, see dkng.co/ice.
Well, folks, we're back at the Huntington Center, live in person again, with another player this time, not Brandon Hawkins. He's had enough flowers with this show. We got Jalen Smereck, man. Welcome to the show again, man. Welcome back. How you doing?
I'm doing good, man. Thanks for having me on.
No, thanks for coming on. I know it's game day, so it's tough to fit this stuff in, especially with us coming down from Grand Rapids, but it is great to have you on. And just how you feeling overall right now?
I'm feeling pretty good. You know, it's just that time of year where, you know, everyone's kind of banged up. You got your problems. You just got to battle through them. It's that playoff hockey time, you know. It's playoff hockey before playoff hockey starts. So, you know, you just got to get yourself ready for every game and try to prepare the best you can.
Yeah. What's kind of like your thoughts on this season as a whole so far?
I think it's been pretty good. As far as team-wise, I think we've been pretty good. You know, we know when we're not playing our game. We know when we're kind of losing our momentum. We kind of know when we're not playing our style of game, and I think that's one of the biggest things when you can identify that as a team and you know that. I think that's always a huge key. And I think for myself, it's been a you know, pretty decent year for me. It's definitely not the year that I like to have, but you know, just battling some family stuff and everything like that. You know, I'm trying to just wrap my head around the game and be the best that I can be.
We're about halfway through the season. How do you feel so far being here?
I mean, I can't even put it to words, man. You know, and like I say all the time, there's still people coming up to me this late in the season telling me you know, they're so happy that I'm here and they're glad to see me, and it's just awesome to, you know, be wanted, you know, and having people so thankful, and just having that love. That love is awesome to have. The fans here are so great. You know that, you know, there's nothing that compares to that when you're getting that love from, you know, everyone who watches you and supports you every night.
Would you say that's your favorite part so far about being here in Toledo?
Yeah, no, 100%. I mean, the community is great. The fans are great. everything's just, next level. And, when you got that makes everything else on the ice way easier.
Has it lived up to the hype so far?
Oh, yeah. No, I knew right away. I mean, I came down before my first year in Cincinnati. I came here and watched the playoff game, and I kind of knew what I was getting myself into. And then, 2 years in Cincinnati playing against them, kind of seen it, as a player, just on the other side. And now, being on this side, it's everything I expected.
Now, since you've been here a little bit, what do you think truly makes this place so special?
I mean, kind of just everything that I kind of just said, starting with, the guys in the locker room, or everyone's, here for each other. Everyone supports each other. It's a great group. We gel well. The staff is great. The management's great. They make sure you have everything that you need, and they take care of, anything that a player could need or want, around the rink, outside of the rink. And then the fans are awesome and the community is great. So when you have those things in place, there's nothing you have to worry about but going out there and playing hockey.
Talk about this facility. It's like first class to the T. What's like the one thing that, since you've been a player here, that's had like that wow moment, just as this building?
I mean, I think just all the support system, all the people around, Jonesy, Marcia, Fraz, just for people who don't know, that's, the strength and conditioning, and, Fraz, who's the chaplain, that stuff means a lot, and that stuff helps you a lot, and even, Dr. Ruth Ann, just everything that, you could ever want on a team. As far as the staff, you got all the support that you need.
Let's reflect on opening night here at Toledo. The crowd and starting on skating onto the ice throughout the tunnel. Was that everything you had hoped?
Yeah, no, I mean, coming out, it was, hearing the the screams and the chants. It was everything that I could imagine, and it was, I mean, even just coming through the tunnel, all the kids and the fans right there in the hallway just waiting, and, the blood just flowing. That's everything that I, thought it was going to be when I, thought about coming here.
Did you jump when they said they hit somebody? It gets me every time.
No, it does. It won't get you. No, it definitely gets you jumping for sure.
I thought the place was like the roof was going to come off the place when you came out on the ice, and I just thought that was super cool. That official welcome to this town. It was just such a cool thing.
No, and hearing that Motor City really gets you going too. I love that introduction. So, no, it was awesome.
I just got to ask about going back to last year. Your first game back in Cincy, you had a couple fun years there for yourself. What was it like to just reflect on that in your first game back there?
It was a bit weird, honestly, for me. I mean, I just think, I don't know. It kind of was expected, but at the same time, it's like you kind of don't expect it. There's a lot more booze than I thought. Seeing what I did for the organization and, kind of breaking the record last year and all that stuff, I thought it'd be kind of more of a welcome back. But I also kind of figured just how everything kind of played out there, that it wouldn't be that. So I kind of expected it not to be, much of a welcome back, but at the same time, from a fan standpoint and everything that I gave the community, I thought from the fan standpoint that it would be a little bit different. But I mean, it's the part of the game that you can't control and you can't worry about. So
let your play do the talking.
Yeah, it is what it is. But I mean, for me, it was just another game. I really didn't think too much on it.
And then you come back here and a sellout crowd almost every night cheers for you every time. So it's a nice balance.
Yeah,
It makes
for sure.
Makes you feel good.
For sure.
We got to ask, why number 5 why number 5?
It's for my dad. RIP, my daddy passed away in September. It was when I was in Tucson. I didn't Actually, it started way before that, but I wore 55 in Tucson because his birthday is 5/5/51. So I wore 55 because of that. And then when I got 5'4" was actually my favorite number growing up, just because of my older brother. And then when they said, "Oh, you can't," we got someone in 4, I was like, all right, I'll take 5 and wear it for my dad. 5's always been his favorite number. He always loved playing 5 in the lottery and stuff like that, 55 in the lottery. So I figured if I could wear a 5 for him, that'd be great.
I love that. I love that.
Yeah. So as you've adjusted to the teammates here, who's been the biggest surprise in the team so far this season to you?
As far as what?
I mean, just kind of blowing your mind, like what they can do out there on the ice.
Oh, on the ice?
That's a tough one.
Yeah.
A lot of talent in this team, man.
Yeah.
I mean, like Hawk doesn't really count because I've known him.
Yeah.
Louis doesn't count. I've known him since I was 7, but like even those guys, like watching those guys, especially Lou. Like I love watching Lou. I think he's underrated for sure. Just watching the puck on his stick. But I think for me, the biggest one is I'd probably say Cruz. Playing against him, you kind of see it, but you don't really see all the little plays that he makes and some of the things he does. But watching it on his team, it's like, wow, this guy he makes some nice fucking plays, and you're like, wow, it's just when you're on the opposite team, it's some things you don't really get a chance to see or you're not paying attention to. But when you're on the same team, you're watching everything. Especially me being a guy who's really vocal on the bench and always trying to talk as much as I can to the guys on the ice and to the guys on the bench. Just watching him, it's he's another magician just like Louis.
Do you like to talk a lot on the bench to the guys? Do you like to throw chirps the other way a lot too, or no?
Yeah, I mean, I do like to chirp. I try to settle down because, I get yelled at sometimes. And I get carried away a lot too. So, I've been trying to calm it down a bit. But, yeah, no, I'm all for the chirping.
I know, like, the one thing I noticed waiting for you guys outside post game is some of the music that gets played. It's like the biggest variety of genres. So who runs the aux squad?
Man, I hate to say it, but Hawk does, and he's terrible. He's so bad. He's so bad. But, yeah, he's
something else, isn't he?
It's painful. It's honestly painful. And I'm not. I hate country. I hate country. There's a few artists that I can listen to.
So you don't have the Shania Twain pick. That's not your pick.
See, they've been getting pissed off at me lately because I'm like, who the hell is Shania Twain? And they're like, come on, dude, you know who? I'm like, bro, like, I don't care if you played her song yesterday. I don't know who that is. So I've been kind of catching heat for that, but probably will catch heat in the comments for that too as well.
It's all right.
But no, I ran it a couple times, but I don't know. Hawk's not really a guy who doesn't really do much. He's got it all queued up. I don't really do much either. He goes out and plays sewer. I'm kind of more so on my phone before the game. So I kind of like take it off at a certain point and go do my own thing kind of thing. He kind of just leaves his phone there and lets it play. So he's kind of been there. But there has been a couple of times where I've been on and unfortunately a couple of times where we have lost too. So I guess I got to take the blame for that. But no, he's the music guy. And it kills me to say it, but yeah, he's the guy, man.
He's gonna get a good laugh out of that.
Yeah, no, I give it to him. I mean, I do want to get him off at some point, but it's hard.
In good love, right?
Yeah. Oh yeah. No, he knows.
They could get better after the kid, maybe a little bit of change.
Yeah, his music taste isn't bad, but it's sometimes where it's just like,
we need a different
vibe.
Yeah.
We just need a little bit more of a mix. Like, he either goes, like, he's one and all. Like, either it's one genre and it's straight rap, or it's like straight techno, and it's just like, man, like, I need some words. Like, I need some singing, some rapping, some words.
Oh, that's That might be one of the funniest question answers we've had.
I think it might be.
Yeah, no, I hope he does see this because he's some days are better than others for sure. I'll say that, but there's some days where I'm like, dude, like turn this up as loud as you can so I can get something out of it, but this is bad.
Every team's got a prankster, every team's got a jokester. Who is it on this team?
I don't know, man. I don't think we've really had too many pranks. But as far as jokes, I mean, we got a funny locker room. We got a great group of guys. The chirps fly around, the jokes fly around. So honestly, you gotta stay on your P's and Q's in there. You never know who's gonna send a shot at you. I mean, times have changed. Rookies are actually probably, some of the. I would say Messina's probably one of the top guys.
I was gonna say I could see that.
Yeah, no, he's a funny guy, man, and you never know. Like, there's so many hidden gems, like just hidden characters on the team. One of my favorites is TP. He's hilarious. Him and Mess, I love just seeing those guys in action and stirring the pot and mixing them up a little bit. And, I mean, there's too many guys. There's every day you come to the rink, there's going to be a different guy throwing out some type of joke and stirring up the pot. So it's good. Oh yeah, no, it's great.
Yeah, I've learned to stay on my toes around here. I'm on the bench for practice this morning and put Hawks throwing pucks at me.
Oh yeah, no, that's the guy you got to watch out for. He's more so of the, I wouldn't say prankster. He's more so of the just stuff like that. Like,
he's gonna get you when you're not looking.
He's out to kill. He's out to hurt. Like, if you're not looking, he'll get you. He'll get you.
You mentioned you reached out to Hawk about playing here over the summer when we talked to you. How is your guys' relationship here? Has it just been brothers at this point?
Yeah, no, for sure. That's definitely a big brother to me. Just me going through everything that I went through this year. He's been even, more of a brother to me than, he's ever been. And he stepped up and helped me a lot. And it's great to kind of just see, kind of remember those times as a kid to kind of what's going on now. And it's great to kind of just see us as pros and how we both grown and now we both got kids and,
It's crazy, right?
Yeah, it's like, it's crazy too, because like we were just talking about, like, man, like that's something like a dad would do, and it's like now we're at that level. So it's like we started off as kids. I was definitely younger, and he was playing with my oldest brother. So I was kind of just, always around the locker room as that younger brother on the team, and I'd be in his locker room. His team's locker room, and then I'd be in my brother's team's locker room, and I would kind of just go back and forth and kind of be a little rat ball, just messing with everyone and, skating with both teams. But coming here now, playing with him, it's great, man, and it's awesome to see how far we've grown and how far we came and, how we're dads now, man. It's just like yesterday we were just kids.
I love that for you guys, man. That's awesome.
Toledo does a cool theme night. They do nickname jerseys. Where did your nickname G-Baby come from?
That's from my dad. Oh. Yeah, that was kind of a honor to my dad. I couldn't really think of what nickname I wanted to put on there. And, when I kind of thought about it, I said, well, maybe I could, send this to my fam and see who wants a jersey. So I was able to kind of just do that for my dad and kind of, get some jerseys ordered from my family. So we'll have that to kind of remember. And, it's kind of weird, too, because, like, a lot of people don't know that. So now they're kind of calling me G-Baby. So it kind of, like, it's cool, but at the same time, it kind of,
tugs at you a little.
Yeah, it tugs at you a little bit and kind of not bothers you, but puts you in kind of that sensitive state. But, it's all from, great love, and, I appreciate it. And, that was just one of those things where I thought, I could give an honor to my dad and say thank you to him. So
that's awesome, man. Now, thinking of the specialty jerseys, what blew our mind the first time was seeing what the auction prices go for here in Toledo.
Yeah.
Isn't it crazy?
Yeah. No, that what was it? Acoustics for autism. Yeah, that one was. That was the nicknames one. Yeah.
Yeah.
That one was. I think mine went for like
$3,000.
Was it $3,000?
$3,000.
It's insane. Like the first time I saw that, I couldn't believe it.
I've never seen that anywhere else besides. I think when I was in Odessa, Texas, I seen that actually.
Oh yeah.
But other than that,
Yeah, it's
I've
wild.
never seen that before. That was, I mean, I think. Do you know what the total price was for that night? Something crazy.
Oh, it was nuts. I know. I think it was more than $30,000.
Yeah.
Oh
yeah,
my
I want to say it was like
God.
35, 40,000.
Yeah.
So.
I think
yeah, no,
I
it
want
was
to say
pretty
Hawkins
crazy.
was like $5 or $6 grand again.
Yeah.
Like,
No. It was up there.
Because I remember I was doing media and I got up here with my wife and she's like, Smereck's went for $3,000. I was like, oh my God, he's like the first one.
I try to always be the first one up, and you know, when I seen that I was going for $3,000, I said, "Wow, it's gonna be a long night." A long night. It's always cool to see what Hawk goes for.
Oh yeah.
if it makes it to auction.
Yeah, no, for sure, and that's the other thing. I like how they do that ticket thing, and you know, let the fans, you know, let the winner pick one. You know, I think that's awesome. But
That's super cool.
yeah, no, it's.
Which one was your favorite this year so far?
I don't know, man. What was there? I mean, I think the nickname one was nice. The peanut one was nice. I don't know. I think I'm just. I want to wear a baby blues more. Just our normal baby blues.
Yeah.
I'm a big fan of those. I'm a
That's-
big fan of the
That's
yellows.
my favorite of the regular rotation is the
Yeah.
baby blues.
And you know, I think the baby blue and the yellow ones are the best jerseys in the league for sure.
Yeah.
So I mean, I'd rather.
Where
I
those?
prefer those over the specialty jerseys, but I think the themes have been really cool. Even the bullfrog one was really cool. So.
Speaking of the bullfrog, we got to know the celebration. Was that planned? Was it?
That was kind of like on the spot. We were kind of sitting there. What was that, before warm-ups? No, that was before we went out for the tunnel, start of the game. Actually, B-Mac McAllen, he was sitting there. He's like, man, I want to play. He like brought up Frogger. He's like, I'm gonna leapfrog over someone if I score. And I was like, all right, well, if you score, then I'll get down and you leapfrog over me, and if I score, then you get down and I'll Frogger over you. And we're kind of just walking out like joking about it. And I was like, fuck, I just scored. And I was like, I got to do this, otherwise I'm going to get chirped when I get in the locker room. That was like the first thing that popped in my head when I scored. I was like, I got to do this. And, you know, it kind of just went on from there, and it was hilarious, man. So I can't take credit for the idea, but, you know, I thought it was awesome. It was hilarious.
I was covering that game and I saw that and I was losing my mind. I was like, what to do it on skates? I thought was hard enough.
Yeah, I almost wiped out too. That was the worst part.
Holy crap.
Yeah, there's a second where I caught his stick and I like went on my heel and I was like, oh, that would have been bad though. That would have been bad. Frogger would have got hit by that car.
Did anybody else on the team know you guys were going to do it? Because Hawk said you guys do it, and I thought he was about to fall over on the ice.
No, I mean, Matty Anderson sits in between us in the locker room, so he was kind of there listening to us. Bobby Russell also sits on the other side, so us four are kind of right next to each other. But outside of those four, I don't think anyone really expected us to do that.
Oh, I love it. You were mic'd up for a game. How much fun was that for you?
That was awesome. That was awesome. Unfortunately, they edited out some of the best parts, probably for family reasons. Yeah, no, for sure. honestly, I want to get my hands on it, but I don't think they're gonna release it. Yeah, no. No, I enjoyed it though. I think it was fun. It was a nice experience. It was the first time I've ever been mic'd up for a game. I mean, there's some cringing footage on there, you know. I almost forgot, like, I think after, I want to say halfway through the first or after the first, like, I completely forgot. There's times where I'm just, like, singing and I'm like, oh, fuck, I'm mic'd up. Like, I don't think anyone wants to hear this. And I was like, I think at one point I was singing, I'm like, I hope they don't put that in the video.
They did.
And they did. Yeah, I definitely got caught singing Miley Cyrus too. But I mean, Party in the USA is a classic. So when that comes on, if you're not singing along with it, what are you doing here? Like, let's talk about it. So
I'm surprised the boys didn't put that in the rotation for the post game.
Again, man, that's Hawk, man.
He's catching a lot of strays today.
Yeah, I mean, he deserves them. I mean, like, when the boys win, you got to be playing, like, good throwbacks. He's playing, like, I don't know. We won't even talk about it.
That mic'd up game, that was during the Kids' Day. How much do you love giving it back to the community and the kids that made it even more fun for you?
It's one of the biggest things for me. I think for me personally, that's one of the things that keeps me going, keeps me motivated, and anytime I can do something like that and give back to the kids, because I remember, like, growing up in Detroit, there wasn't any of that coming into my school, and even like, I was fortunate enough to go to schools where we've had guys make it, or women make it further on in sports to professional and different things of that sort, and not too many of them came back to get back to the school or talk to us. So me making it this far in life and making it to this professional stage, even before then, I've always wanted to give back and kind of be a leader in my community in Detroit, and just help the next generation as much as I could. But like I said, using my platform and being on this stage and kind of knowing who I am and what I've achieved throughout my life, anytime I can go to the schools in any community and talk to the kids and spend time with them and give them an experience that I didn't have, I'm all for it. And I mean, that's, even with my kids, man, like, just trying to teach them life lessons and, not only be a parent, but also be kind of just that teacher and kind of guide them through life. And, there's times where, you're mad at your kids, or, you don't like something that they do. I think you can still kind of teach them out of that. I'm not a big believer in, yelling or anything like that. I like to try to kind of sit down with them and talk to them and try to coach them through life a little bit. And I think that's important, because a lot of times, it's just hard for kids. I know for me as a kid, it's hard when, you're constantly getting yelled at, or you're constantly, just getting a whooping or getting, getting in trouble. Not to say my parents were doing any of that, but just kind of seeing from other perspectives and other families, and just hearing from, what my friends have gone through and stuff like that, or different people that I know. It's tough on you as a kid, and it kind of makes you be a certain way as you grow up and do certain things as you grow up. So I just want to try to help as much as I can and give back as much as I can.
So one thing that really stands out since you've got here is how much love you show the kids in the warm-ups and post-game, giving out pucks and, always greeting fans. Just, it's kind of, how important is that to you when you're at the game? I mean, obviously out in the community you love doing that stuff, but even just at the game, just how important is that for you to step aside and do that?
Oh, that's another thing where it's just like going to games as a kid. You always wanted that puck. You always wanted to, have a picture with your favorite player and things like that. So anytime I can do that and, just make a kid's night or make someone's night, I'm thankful for, the position that I'm in, because I've had a lot of friends that I grew up with, or had a lot of people that I went to school with that didn't make it, past 20 or 21 or whatever the case may be, or they're locked up. So where I come from, it's hard to make it out. So for me, again, to be on this stage and to be supported so and appreciated so much, I mean, I will never take it for granted. And anytime I can give back and say thank you, or give that love back to the people who are loving and supporting me, I'm all for it, man. And it means the most to me.
So these are just the fun ones. They're really quick, really short.
Okay.
Favorite hockey player?
Nick Lindstrom, Brett Hall, PK Subban.
Favorite arena you've played in?
I'd say Vegas.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Favorite sports arena snack?
Bosco sticks.
Nice.
Worst arena to play in?
Hold on, rewind.
Okay.
Crazy to me. A lot of, like in Fort Wayne, one of the post-game options are Bosco sticks, and there's a lot of talk going around the locker room. What is a Bosco stick?
Oh, so we have a problem here.
The fact that people don't know what Bosco sticks are is crazy. It actually kind of pissed me off for a second. So if there's any ice arenas out there watching, if you can get Bosco sticks in your rink, please put them in. You won't regret it. Best snack of all time. Yeah, no, that's. There's nothing better at a concession stand than a nice Bosco stick.
Worst arena to play in?
Ooh.
Was it here before you came here?
No. I would definitely say, I don't know, man. Wheeling has to be up there. Yeah, man. I think Wheeling, off the top of my head, that's one of my least favorites in the league.
Music or podcasts?
Music for sure.
Pineapple on pizza? Or no?
Lately, I've been influenced to try it. It's not that bad, honestly. Just depending on what kind of pizza is. Like, I don't know, maybe like pepperoni and pineapple's not a bad one, or pepperoni, bacon, and pineapple. That's not a bad one. But yeah, as long as there's not too much on it.
Favorite road trip movie?
Stop Brothers.
Oh, good one.
Hobby outside of hockey? I think we all know this answer.
I'm a gamer.
Oh,
yeah, I'm a gamer. I'm a big gamer.
Yeah.
What's your 2K record this year?
Honestly, when I'm on with like my crew or like my friends, we're like 60-70% win percentage. I don't know about record wise because it restarts like after every couple months or so. But yeah, anytime I'm on with like my boys, we're definitely in the 60-70 win percentage.
And last one, how special is it being so close to home?
Oh, it's awesome. Especially, with the passing of my dad, just being able to go back home every week and kind of see my mom, and being able to have my kids here every weekend and come watch games. There's nothing more than you want, and being able to kind of have that support from the hometown, like being able to have friends and, even like last night, I had a kid that I've been training come and watch me play, and having that relationship and being able to kind of train them in the summer and then have them come to a game and have them watch you play. I mean, there's nothing more that you want, and just having, like I said, that love and support. I'm a big love guy, and anytime I can get that love, it's much appreciated.
Love it. Well, Jalen, that's all we have for you, man. Thank you for doing this with us. Easily one of the most down-to-earth guys we ever talked to in the sport, honestly.
I appreciate it, man. Thank you.
Thanks. Good luck the rest of the way.
Thank you. I appreciate you guys having me on.
And welcome back to just the two of us. Always great to catch up with Jalen, man. I love talking to that dude, especially when you can kind of get him loosened up and going. We did ask some questions that were around sensitive topics, but I always appreciate him being willing to like talk about it with us. And we felt bad because the interview got serious in some spots, but at the same time, when you get to joke around with that guy and have fun, and he is Mr. Serious, like he takes the game so seriously and he's so passionate about it. But to get him going, it's always a good time, man.
Yeah, absolutely. And it was kind of fun I got to see him Sunday after the game. He came out of the locker room, and I didn't have anybody at the moment, so he came over and said hi, and I was like, hey, this is why you came here. Like, go out there, have fun, good luck, and enjoy it. Like, just do you, really. Like, go out there, be yourself, have fun. And, when we talked to him, like, throughout the year, like, he wanted to play in big games, right? That's part of the reason he came here. So, like, I'm super excited to see him in the big moment and how he plays. And just as, like, how much he's loved being here is probably my biggest takeaway from the interview.
Yeah, like it sucked when you hear like him going back to Cincy and like he's like, yeah, the welcoming wasn't what I expected, but I am in enemy territory now, so I guess I get it. But you think of everything he's done for that organization, and I just remember him skating out the tunnel in opening night and the ovation that he got, and how well loved he is by the fans in this organization. And he's got to feel good, and he's got to be pumped to be playing in these games, man. Like you said, you're excited to see him in those moments. I'm super stoked to see him in these moments. I think playoff intensity Jalen might just be a whole new beast that should scare every other team in the ECHL, honestly.
Yeah.
You have to correct me if I'm wrong. Has he ever played in the playoffs in the Coast?
Oh, yeah. Yeah. He was with Cincy,
Okay.
and yeah.
Sorry, my relevance, like my relevant knowledge of the ECHL is always Cincy's just not been good. So
we won't bring that up.
Oh, gotcha. Sore topic. Never mind. Moving on from that. No, man, it's excited. So thanks again to him for taking time out of his day to talk to us. It was on a game day too, and it's not a lot of players like to do that or are willing to do that. So we appreciate him for taking the time, and of course the Walleye for making that interview even possible for us. Like we said, we've been sitting on it for a while, so
that was a
hopefully
last minute change too.
It was not the original interview scheduled. It was one of the ones on the list that we wanted. So I'm glad it worked out for everybody. And again, it's just always fun talking to him. I need to hit him up to hit the video games with him in the off season though. Got to play some Call of Duty with him.
Yeah, we'll have to set that up with him this summer. Like maybe we can live stream that somehow to where all three of us are playing or something. I don't know. That'd be fun.
Oh, so I had to censor myself when I'm playing that game though. I don't know if I can do that.
Yeah, it is hard, but I think it'd be fun if he'd be willing to do it.
I'm not good enough at 2K, so I wouldn't even try to challenge him to that. I've seen him post stuff on Instagram and see how good he is at that, where he ranks. Yeah, not even touching that game. Call of Duty, I'll throw down with him on that. Let's go. With that, though, it's a perfect spot to wrap up this episode. Again, get ready, folks. It's playoff time. We're excited. Hope you're excited. Can't wait to see everyone down in Toledo on Thursday. And Travis, I know you're ready to roll and get ready for the busy season, man. This is where this starts to feel like an actual job.
Yeah, and with going to 410s next week, it's gonna take a toll for sure.
Lots of caffeine in Travis and myself's future, for sure. Well, thank you everyone for tuning in. We hope you enjoyed this episode and the interview with Jalen Smereck. As always, before we end the episode, we've got to thank our sponsors of the show, DraftKings and Everything Hockey Clothing Company. Make sure when you're betting with DraftKings, you're using code THPN, and when you're shopping at everythinghockey.com, use code WEST to save a few bucks off your order. Also helps out the show. Check out all the new stuff they've got there. I think they just dropped a new hoodie that says "Leave me alone. My hockey team is going through a rebuild." So I think I know some Red Wings fans that might need to pick up that hoodie. It's a nice one. I like it. On top of that, though, we got to thank our Patreon subscribers who make this show possible, and those currently are Tyler, Reagan, Claire, John, Elaine, Griffin, Randy, Derek, Lori, Alan, and Michael. Thank you all for the love and support you guys show us over there. If you're not with us yet on Patreon, head over to patreon.com/Hockeytown West Podcast. Check out the tiers we have to offer. We make them as cheap as possible. We do unedited episodes over there, bonus episodes over there. Giveaways. We did a bunch of ticket giveaways for the end of the Griffins season here. We got playoffs coming up, so who knows? Keep your eye out over there for some future playoff ticket giveaways. Maybe we'll throw some walleye ones in there. Who knows? We'll make it fun. But like I said, patreon.com/Hockeytown West Podcast to check out the tiers that we have. With that, we will wrap this episode up. Thank you again, everyone, for tuning in. And as always, go Griffins, go Walleye, and we'll talk to y'all again soon.
Thank you for tuning in to the Hockeytown West Podcast. Be sure to check us out on Twitter at HockeytownWPod and your host, Nick at GR Hockey Guy and Brandon at BrandonGR Hockey.